Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for the podcast of the True Power from Within. I do pray each and every day that this podcast touches you in the most amazing and encouraging way. So, today I have labeled this podcast the Non Negotiables. So, in business and in personal development, they train you to identify what your non-negotiables are. So in business and in personal development, it's going to be two different things. But we all have our non-negotiables in our lives, right? And what I mean by non-negotiable, I'll use my grandkids as an example, right? So a non-negotiable for them is, two of my grandchildren. Um, a non-negotiable for them is they do not go to bed without drinking a cup of milk, right? That is a non-negotiable for them. They feel like they have to have milk before they go to bed, or they cannot go, right? It's just a non-negotiable. I have another grandson. He eats mashed potatoes. He will only eat a certain brand of mashed potatoes. And they have to be the instant ones, and they're in the cup, and he will only eat those. You cannot go to a restaurant and buy him mashed potatoes. He will not eat them, right? So it's a non-negotiable for them. For my husband, he started the street ministry 20 years ago. Sundays is a non-negotiable for him, right? So these are just some examples. In my life, I wake up every day. I do my prayer time. I do my meditation. I do a podcast 3 days a week. Those are non-negotiables for me. Now, when we come to a point in our life, we have, as children, we have these amazing imaginations, right? We have this sense of, we begin to get a sense of self. We begin to get a sense of imagination. We get a sense of our own personality, right? I know Destiny is, you can really begin to see that her personality has changed over the past 4 years, right? She has certain things that she does. She has certain attitudes in the mornings. And so things have begun to change for her. And over the course of our life, things begin to change for us, right? So as a child, we start out with a certain perspective on life, right? And over the course of our life, if we go through pain or we go through hurt or we go through trauma or whatever, our non-negotiables seem to be turned into someone else's negotiables, right? And it's funny because this message was brought to me yesterday unknowingly. And then God kind of brought it to fruition this morning. So I pray that I can give it to you the same way that He gave it to me. And I'm going to be coming out of Galatians chapter 5. And I think that this is a really good example. If you want to talk about non-negotiables in the Bible, Proverbs is an entire book of non-negotiables in the eyes of God, right? It tells us how to live. It talks to us about wisdom. It talks to us about the type of person we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to stay away from, and what we're supposed to do, and how we're supposed to live. Proverbs is a prime example. Right. But in this particular message, I want to come out of Galatians 5, right? Because I feel like it's a perfect example. In Galatians 5, Galatians 5, verse 7, it says, "You were running a good race. You were obeying the truth. Who persuaded you to stop following the true way? That persuasion does not come from God who chose you. Be careful. Just a little yeast makes a whole batch of dough rise. A small thing can make a big problem." So I want to cover that for a second. As we get older, as we grow, as we learn, we feel like we have a sense of self. We have a sense of, okay, I do not allow this. I don't allow this. I'm not going to allow anyone to hurt me. And sometimes, especially in my life, when I was 10 years old and I experienced physical abuse for the first time, it changed my entire life, right? Because I was this outgoing, sassy, girl with this big imagination, and I thought I had it all under control, right? I mean, at the age of 10, you think it's your brain is developing, your personality is developing, your sense of self is developing, and something happens to you and it changes everything. Those things that you thought were non negotiables, right? That personality, that sass, that happiness, I can conquer the world at the age of 10, right? Those things, when trauma or pain begins to happen, those particular non negotiables in our life become someone else's negotiables for a long time, right? So I struggled with that for about 25 to 30 years because as a child, you don't know how to understand what your non-negotiables are, right? So I was having lunch with someone yesterday, and even though the conversation did not come up, it was like I was feeling God moving in my spirit, right? Because I know as a child, my non-negotiables were violated. I know in this person's life, in their childhood, their non-negotiables were violated, right? So now we deal with self-doubt, we deal with unworthiness, we deal with, pain and trauma and mental illness. We deal with all of these things because our non-negotiables as a child were violated. And, I started this healing journey back in 2010, right? This particular person is just now starting their healing journey. They're just now starting to get an understanding of what their non-negotiables are and what they have to do in their life in order for them to be whole and healed and healthy, right? They're just now starting their journey. And it was funny because I have this woman on my Facebook page that I've really never met. She's in a business that I used to be in, but we were never on the same team. We didn't have the same sponsor, but somehow we became friends. And I have been in agreement with her in prayer, because she's trying to have another baby. And so, but then yesterday she texted me about a situation happening in her life that she has a non-negotiable and someone else is trying to make that a negotiable, right? And so even though I'm telling her I will pray for her and and all of these things, that was just another example yesterday that came to me after the lunch, right? Another situation that came as a non-negotiable, right? As an example. And then yesterday, I was asked to host a Zoom meeting about speaking tips, right? Well, I am the first person that will say, yes, absolutely, I will do that, right? But it was on a Sunday. On a Sunday is a non-negotiable for me because we have dinner with our children. We do the street ministry, right? I spend Sunday doing church and really putting myself together for the week as far as prayer and worship and praise, and that's my Sunday, right? So to me, that is a non-negotiable. And when I said, listen, I would love to do that, but I cannot do it. Not on a Sunday night at 7:00. I can't. And so, but there was a moment that I said to myself, okay, maybe I can just figure this out. Maybe I can just cancel dinner with my kids, whatever. And I said, God said that is a non-negotiable. That is a non-negotiable in your life. And what I'm trying to say to you today is in our lives, we allow the things that we have set forth for ourselves, right, as non-negotiables. There are points in our lives that we say, oh, there's an opportunity for me, or, oh, that could turn out to be really good. And we allow those non-negotiables to in turn be someone else's negotiables. we see here in Galatians 5 where it says that to be careful, the persuasion or the non-negotiables, right? When someone tries to make your non-negotiables a negotiable to suit them or to make them comfortable or to be convenient for them, right? That is not coming from God. I've had these, my husband laughs at me and he's like, you're going to go do research on that too, aren't you? Right? Because I'm a researcher. But I've been having these nights, right? Usually I go to sleep and I'm asleep, right? I have no issue sleeping. But over the past, I don't know, I'd say month and a half or so, there's these moments that I wake up in the middle of the night. My alarm has not gone off. It's not time for me to get up, but I don't realize it. So I'll get up, I'll go to the restroom, right? And I immediately start my morning. Immediately, right? I don't even know that it's 12:40 or 1 o'clock in the morning until I've already got Destiny's feed, her medicine, she's on a feed, and I have literally started my whole morning routine. I've got my cup of coffee. I have turned I have got my phone and I sit down on the couch in the media room. I'm about to say a prayer and I look at my phone and it's 12:40. I'm like, God, what is going on here? Like, why? And then so I go in, I put my phone back on the charger. My alarm is still set. I go get back in the bed. I turn Destiny's feet off and I get back in the bed, right? And I kept saying, why do I keep doing this? Why? What is happening here? Right? And I just felt the spirit of God because I keep telling my husband, like, why am I doing this? This is the weirdest thing. I've never done this before. What is happening? And I feel in my spirit, it's God saying, listen, this is a moment of non-negotiation, right? This is a moment that I have woken you up, right? Because your alarm didn't wake you up, right? Destiny didn't wake you up. Your husband didn't wake you up. I woke you up. This is a moment that, I need you in prayer in this moment, right? But I kept going back to bed, right? I kept going back and going to sleep. And it continues to happen. And I'm like, something is what is going on? And it's God stirring me up, right? It's God telling me, like, listen, this is a moment that you need to be in prayer. This is a non-negotiable for you, right? You're praying and you're hoping and you're having faith for certain things in your life. And I need you as an intercessor for other people that are in your life that are struggling. Maybe these people are up at this exact same time, right? Maybe, and I always pray, right? I pray this prayer in the mornings. I say, Lord, I don't know who these people are, but these people that have been crying out to you all night, right? These people that are crying out to you, that have been up all night crying out to you because they're in need, right? I'm like, God, please bless them. Please answer their prayers. I pray this every single day. Right? I don't know who I'm praying for, but to me, that particular part of my prayer is a non-negotiable, right? God wakes me up at 12 o'clock. He said, okay, I need you right now to be in intercession for someone else, right? I need you to pray over those dreams and those goals, right? That needs to be a non-negotiable. And I feel like there's somebody that has allowed their non-negotiables in their life to turn into someone else's negotiables. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had a dream, right? Have you ever had this big dream or this big goal, right? Or something that looks totally out of the ordinary, but you're believing God for it, right? You're praying for it. You're standing in faith for it, right? And you tell it to the wrong person. And they say, you are crazy. That is never going to happen. Ever. It's never going to happen. That is the craziest dream or the craziest goal that I've ever had. And then what do? You start second guessing yourself. Well, maybe they're right. Maybe that is crazy. Like, maybe that's just, maybe I should just, dream for something smaller. You just allowed your non-negotiable, that thing that you were praying for, that dream that you had. And if you imagine something in your mind, it's not just an imagination. That is something that is a seed that God has planted in your mind, because that is something possible that he can do in your life. You don't just, these dreams and goals don't just float to the surface, right? And then you just catch them as they come. No, God planted that seed inside of you, but you will have some non-negotiables that are put around those goals and those dreams, right? For me, I know that I have to get up every day and pray. That's a non-negotiable, right? God may have planted a seed or a dream or a goal in your life, and he's saying, I need you to get up every day at 5 o'clock, and I need you to pray, right? I need you to get up every day, and I need you to get in that word. I need you to get up every day, and I need you to exercise because you're trying to lose 100 pounds. And this is going to be a non-negotiable for you, right? But somebody tells you, oh, you're never going to lose weight. Like, you've been like this your whole life. Or you're never going to be whole because you were born with something wrong with you. You're never going to accomplish that dream because that's too big. And your past does not dictate what that is, right? And we begin to allow, instead of allowing God, right? God has planted that seed inside of you. God has set those non-negotiables for you. You didn't set those non-negotiables. God set those non-negotiables. But because you have spoken your dream or your goal to the wrong person, or you have given your power over to the wrong person, or you have allowed that person to hurt you and traumatize you for 20 years, right? You have now turned your non-negotiables into someone else's negotiables. Meaning at this point, they are running the things that God has placed inside of you. You have given your dream over to a small-minded person, right? You have given your power over to an abusive person. You have taken your morals and values that were implanted in you by God, and you have allowed someone else to dictate what those are. So I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I hear God saying that it's time for you to get your non-negotiables back in line. It's time for you to stop allowing someone else to make your non-negotiables negotiable. Because I planted that seed in you. I planted that dream in you. I gave you that vision. But now are you going to say, okay, this is it. These are my non-negotiables. I am a family person through and through. And I love when my kids come over for dinner, right? And it was something that my husband actually started, right? But now that it's happening, it's a non-negotiable. Even they're grown, things happen. Sometimes they don't come, right? But then at that point, my husband and I make other plans. But it is a non-negotiable for our family. So for me to say, okay, I'm going to do this training on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, I'm turning my non-negotiable into someone else's negotiable, right? So we could plan it for a different day, or I can even do a recording for the training. No big deal, right? But I have to keep that non-negotiable, right? Because God has planted that seed for us to be able to be in our kids' lives and in our grandkids' lives, right? And to be able to spend, even if it's only an hour or 2 hours, right? That is a time that is non-negotiable for us. Downtown, street ministry is a non-negotiable for my husband. We do not travel on the weekends. And if we do travel on the weekends, we have to be back by Sunday. Non-negotiable. I, for my entire life, always had Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house when I was not in the streets, right? And they were alive. We had every Thanksgiving and every Christmas at my grandparents' house. That was non-negotiable. But then once my grandparents got sick and they passed away, our entire family scattered. And we no longer did that anymore. But once I got sober and I realized how important those moments were to me and the memories that they gave me, I said it's a non-negotiable. I will have Thanksgiving at my house every year for my family, whether they choose to come or not. That I will have Thanksgiving for my family every year, because that is important, right? That was a value that it was instilled in me. No matter where I went in life, no matter where I went wrong, where I went right, that was a time in my life that I remember that has now turned into a non-negotiable for me, because that's important. So I want you today to write down or journal or think about, take inventory of those non-negotiables in your life that you have allowed someone else to come in and make their negotiables. And maybe you don't understand what I'm saying, but what are these priorities or these goals or these morals and values or these belief systems that you had established that were working for you, right? What were the seeds that God had planted in your life that were working for you, that you allowed someone to come in and change it all up, right? And most of us can identify these moments because these are the moments that we see our lives begin to get off track, right? We were on track. We were on track for that promotion. We were on track for that new car. We were on track for achieving that goal or that dream or opening up that business. And then someone came in, stirred your whole life up, and your non-negotiables became their negotiables. I hope this is making sense, and I hope that, and I'm praying that I'm giving this to you, and you understand it as much as God gave it to me, and I understood it. We go through pain, we go through trauma, we go through hurt, we go through people that talk about us, people that hate on us, right? People that block us on social media, right? People that don't comment on our posts, people that are maybe family or friends, and that they're all about what have you done for me lately, right? It's not a two-way street. It's those things or those moments that get our minds stirred up in the wrong direction. We start thinking, okay, well, maybe I need to do this different. Or maybe I need to do that different so this person will want to be around me or want to talk to me or they want to be my friend. No. God has given you a set of non-negotiables for a reason. He has put that goal, dream, vision, belief system in you, right? He's planted the seed of hope. He's planted the seed of courage. He's planted the seed of not being fearful of judgment. He has planted these seeds, right? And these seeds are the road to be your true authentic self that God has created you to be, and to achieve the very vision and purpose that God has put you here for. But you have allowed those non-negotiables, the dreams, the goals, the routines, the diet, the exercise, you have allowed those very things to become someone else's negotiables. You're allowing someone else to run those dreams or run those goals when God says, no, I planted the seed in you. Because you're the one I chose to run with that goal. You're the one that I chose to run with that dream. You're the one that I chose to run that ministry. You're the one that I chose to get that raise. You're the one that I chose for that position. Stop allowing other people to dictate your dreams and to dictate your goals and to dictate what you have been placed here to do. Because if you feel God stirring up on the inside, if you feel like you get up every day and there's something that you do that you swear that you could do every day of your life and be happy with it, don't allow anybody to change that. That is a non-negotiable. That is something that God is doing in your life. That is something that he is trying to stir up inside of you. That is the purpose. That is the vision. That is the goal. That is the dream, right? He is doing that. He's planted the seed. Now it's your turn to water that seed by not allowing anybody to disrupt your non-negotiables. I encourage you today to get back focused on those non-negotiables. Get back focused on that dream or that goal or that purpose or that vision or that healing or that wholeness. Get back focused on that. Focus on those non-negotiables that God has placed in your life, because those are the very things that are going to get you to where you're trying to go. Other people cannot dictate your future. Other people cannot dictate your purpose or your vision or your dreams or your goals, because your vision and your purpose and your goals, are unlike anyone else's. They're not meant to understand it because it wasn't put inside of them. It was put inside of you. So today, I want you to get a piece of paper and I want you to do inventory. And I want you to write down all of the things that are non-negotiables in your life. Maybe that's healing. Maybe healing is a non-negotiable, right? And when I say healing is a non-negotiable, I mean you will have to let go of those people who continue to harm you. You will have to let go of those people who continue to talk down on you. You will have to let go of those people that are toxic and unhealthy. That is a non-negotiable. Maybe you need to get in your word more. Maybe you need to set more time aside for prayer. Those should be non-negotiables. Maybe you need to spend more time with your family. That is a non-negotiable. Stop allowing other people to control your non-negotiables, because those were placed inside of you. Those are stirring inside of you. God put that spirit inside of you because you were called to that. You were called to bigger. You were called to healing. You were called to wholeness. Now stop allowing other people to dictate those things in your life. So I hope I made sense, and I hope that I brought this to you like God brought it to me, and I hope that it makes sense. And today I just say, get your non-negotiables in order, because those things come from God. Those things are going to get you to where it is that you're trying to go. It's going to get you to the wholeness. It's going to get you to the healing. It's going to get you to those visions or those goals or those dreams. So today, get your non-negotiables in line and don't allow anybody else to dictate what those are. So I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and I will see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.